This meeting is being recorded.
You may proceed, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's the September 1st, 2022 meeting of the Norwalk Shellfish Commission. Telesco, has attendance been taken, ma'am?
I have it, Steve.
Thank you, Bill. Approval of the minutes from the August meeting. Can I have a motion to accept those? Actually, we don't have another commissioner. Yeah, cannot do that. Maybe we can get back to it should one of them call in. There are 11 participants and we have one attendee. Attendee, if you would like to have public comment, please raise your hand, ma'am. And she does. If she could be recognized, I'd appreciate it. Ms. Jones, please.
Steve, I want to thank you and your commission and the Harbor Commission for welcoming public comment. And I thank you for answering the questions that I have and being, again, welcoming to public comment. That's all I have to say.
You're welcome, Ms. Jones. Thank you, ma'am. The treasurer's report. Bill, please.
Sure. So there was one expenditure that was, Steve, your reimbursement for the flowers for John Romano's funeral. Other than that, the balance currently is $24,847.50. That expenditure was $147.81. That is all.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, they were beautiful flowers. Least we could do for John.
Have you received the check yet by any chance?
I did. Thank you
You
so
did?
much.
Okay.
Fully reimbursed. Thank you. There is no secretary's report. I will move right back into the committee reports. And again, Bill, please.
Okay, so for the month of August, we had 0.53 inches of rain. Last year at this time, we had 3.23 and historically 4.23. So it was quite a very little amount of rain that we received this August. There were no closures reported whatsoever. There was no bypasses. There was an exceedance that was detected on 8/10. It was reported to Viola on the 12th. And they had, let's see, share with me for a second. They reported 1,102 per 100 milliliters. But then they also happened to mention that the total fecal coliform though ended up at 60 per 100. And they did have chlorine in there, so they're not quite sure what happened, but it didn't last very long. It didn't require any closure of the shellfish beds, even though they were notified.
Great. Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Wastewater treatment plant, there is no one. Mayor's Water Quality Committee, Chairman Schneerlein, please. You're muted, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just met, and a majority of our conversation, first of all, evolved around what's going on in the harbor right now as far as temperature. You shell fishermen will probably be aware of the fact that out in the outer harbor, the data from the USGS indicates that it's warm, but it's actually 10 degrees cooler out there than it is by the Maritime Aquarium, where they also have data collection, which is a significant change in temperature. Also, the oxygen levels from Cove Marine and out show that they're very good, but by the aquarium, the oxygen levels frequently hit on the surface and the bottom down near 2 parts per million, which is life-threatening for a lot of the fish and other organisms that are there. We spent quite a bit of time discussing the consent order that the Norwalk wastewater treatment plant signed in conjunction with the DEEP. And rough time schedule that they're on. By January, they should have everything ironed out and hopefully on the way to improving what they have. They already have experts that they've taken on as consultants to help them get through this. And that should be done this month. And from then on, it's all doing what they have to do. And we'll see what kind of time schedule that they're on. And that's it.
Thank you kindly, sir.
Yep.
Police, no police present. I'd just like to thank again Sergeant Lepak and Officer Mike Silva for their 70+ years of combined serving this community and decades of that as Shellfish constables. So I know Pete's replacement's first day was today, or at least that's what I heard. So perhaps we can invite him next month to introduce himself. Advisory, so Pete is representing us tonight at the Westport Shellfish Clam Bake. So kudos to Pete. Captain Pramer, would you like to say anything here under advisory, sir?
No, nothing to report. Water temperature is like 72 though on the outside.
Thank you so much, sir. Noticing a big algal bloom right now that we haven't had all summer.
Maybe up in the upper, I haven't seen it outside.
Okay. Norwalk Harbor Management Commission. Mr. Stedman is here by telephone. Jeff, please. Jeff, you're muted if you're trying to speak. Go ahead, Jeff.
You should be able to talk now.
Try one more time, Jeff, please. All right, perhaps we can get back to Jeff. Again, no formal approval of the committee.
I'm unmuted now,
Yep,
I think, Steve.
Yep, fire away, Jeff. Go ahead.
Just a couple of things that we miss John Romano, of course, and we're fortunate that Dennis Santella is acting as the chair now, and Dennis knows as much as anybody about harbor management in Norwalk and more than most people. So I'm fortunate that Dennis has stepped in. We miss John quite a bit. Couple of things I'll report on August 8th, I attended the press conference, I guess you call it, or the presentation of the statewide shellfish restoration plan. That was in Fairfield at Ash Creek, and the lieutenant governor was there, and the commissioner of agriculture, and someone from Yukon, and someone from one of the federal agencies, and they talked about the importance of having a plan in order to be able to apply for and anticipate receiving the substantial amount of federal grant money that's expected to be available for shellfish restoration purposes. And as you know, in that restoration plan, Norwalk is identified as a priority area. And we have a conceptual project involving planting of oyster seed in the southern south of Veterans Park. So we need to proceed with that project, and based on what we heard at this press conference, we have a very good chance of obtaining funds for doing that. Well, that's one thing. The Harbor Commission applied for a grant from the Connecticut Port Authority. It's called the Small Harbor Improvement Project Grant, and we were accepted or approved for a $44,000 study of public street ends in the inner harbor, and to look at existing conditions and identify potential improvements that would accommodate public access through those areas. And if nothing else, it will identify areas where there are private encroachments that are to be removed. So we'll have to retain an engineering consultant to do that analysis for us, and that would, we'd select a qualified firm based on a competitive bidding. So that's something that we can look forward to, the additional information. But anyway, the other thing is that we were not eligible, or we could not apply for a construction grant for the Veterans Park Marina this round of the SHIP grants, because you don't have the permit for it. And there was a question of whether the Corps of Engineers would even give the city approval to move ahead with the city's plans, because the marina is in the federal anchorage, and the plans now call for reorganizing it or reallocating the space and so forth. But since then, the Corps, as we understand, has given the city approval to move ahead with its plans. And that's because the marina is open to all on equal terms. The Corps expects that it's open to the public, and that whether you're a resident or non-resident, and that the fee would be the same. So next year we'd be able to apply for a construction grant for that project. And I might mention that the grants that the Port Authority gave this year or approved this year are a total about $5.9 million, including substantial dredging project in Stamford and some other major projects. So next year, I think we should look forward to getting a grant for that Veterans Park Marina in the East Norwalk Basin. So I think that's all I have to say. And with respect to Pete and Michael, the Harbor Commission is going to put together I don't know if you call it a plaque, but for each of them as a tribute to their service, and we look forward to presenting it to both of them at an appropriate time, and perhaps next month at the commission meeting. But so that's my report. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Still no quorum, so we cannot approve the committee minutes reports as read, but thank you. Under old business, we have 27 Rowie Inn Avenue. Mr. Bajik's kind enough to join us in transit. There was a site inspection conducted there. I have some initial comments, and perhaps Commissioner Sachinelli does as well. Jim, I don't know if you wanted to introduce anything based on perhaps your discussions with the applicant, Mr. Gagne, today. Okay, Jim, you are muted. If you'd like to speak, please. Okay, hearing none. Again, apologize to Jim and to the applicant. We won't be able to resolve this tonight, but I think the feeling was that the total encroachment of this straightened pier, ramp, and dock combination was a little bit long, especially with respect to the beam of the boat when placed on said floating dock. And we thought it would be good, based on our measurements, that it could be dialed back. We talked about a total length from the landwardmost upriver pile to the southwest corner as being on the plans as 161 feet. And we measured it out to about 150 feet, and that seemed more reasonable. Jim, we also noted that there is a marked rock just north, just upriver from the intended structure, and we thought it would be a good plan to have the parallel line, if you will, going upriver. So the northwest corner of that dock to just cover that, such that the port side of the boat, if coming down river, wouldn't strike that rock. Mr. Gagne seemed to be amenable to that. If that turns out to be the case, as far as your consultation with him, I mean, we'd welcome just a modification to this such that we could vote on it next week. Nick, I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to add about this?
No, Steve, yeah, you covered it all.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nick. So, yeah, I mean, I'd rather go that, I'd rather go that route than, you know, just shoot this down the way it is. This has been very professionally conducted. Nick, have anything else under old business?
No, nothing on my list.
Okay, so also under Mr. Bajek's aegis, we have applications from the Roten Point Association and to Woodland Road, which is the northeast portion, if you will, of the Wilson Point area, very near to the Cedar Hammock recreational shellfish beds. Jim, I think you're traveling and maybe can't share screen. If I could have the permission, Bill or moderator, to do that, I'll give it a shot. I don't know how well this will work.
Go ahead and try, Steve.
Can you see this or not? Perhaps not. Let's try this. Attempting to show the Rowayton Avenue, or excuse me, the Roten Point. Is this appearing, anyone? Picture of a ramp?
I don't see it, Steve.
Yeah, it says I'm sharing it, but it's evidently not. Let me try one more
You're sharing
time.
with your current screen, your full screen. You have to share. If you hit share and then click on the actual window you want to share.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Let's try one more time. Any better?
That's good.
Okay, great. Thanks. So just to summarize, and Jim, please chime in if I mischaracterize the application at all. But essentially, this proposed structure, if you will, would replace this plywood for the launching of their human carried boats and those that they wheel down by hand, essentially replacing that plywood structure with concrete block, making it permanent. I did listen to the presentation made to the Norwalk Harbor Management Commission. And if I characterize that right, they said that they had no objection to this moving forward to a full application, but did not say that it was consistent with the harbor management plan. I'm having thoughts about this, and I kind of don't like this design. I think this is literally paving the intertidal zone. I think that's a bad idea. I think that perhaps some other wooden structure that maybe might be removable would get down into that intertidal zone, such that when the tide's up a little bit more than it is in the picture, they could launch their sunfish, hobies, and things of that nature. So again, we can't vote on this tonight, but similar to the last application, Jim, I'd like to leave this to you and the applicant, rather than shoot this down next month, maybe to come back with a different design. I'm very opposed to putting permanent structures on the intertidal zone. I just think it's not a great idea. And I think there are probably engineering capability there to have a different structure that would serve the same purpose. Any comments, Jim or Nick?
I'm very much in agreement with your opinion there. I don't think that we put anything permanent.
Thank you, Commissioner. So again, we'll table this until next month. At such time we can vote on it. I don't think that this requires a site inspection, but we can leave that open. We'll see what the applicant, Mr. Bajek, comes back with. So thanks in advance, Jim. Next is 2 Woodland Road, which is pier, ramp, dock structure, and I'll try to share that if I can.
In the meantime, Jim, if you can try and unmute yourself. I can't do anything right now until you unmute yourself. Thank you.
We'll try this again. Last time, the second time was a charm. Moderator, I'm in a loop such when I try to share, it mutes me. Okay, so I can distribute this electronically, but I just think suffice to say, we can't vote on it tonight. I think this one does require a site inspection. Again, it's 2 Woodland Road, so we'll look for a low tide to do that sometime between now and October 6th. Nick, do you have anything else for new business?
No, nothing on my list.
Thank you very much, sir. So the next meeting is October 6th at 19:15, and we'll see everyone then. Again, I can't entertain a motion to adjourn, but we'll see everyone next month. Thank you for attending.
Good night.